This is better than we thought. We have a very encouraging breaking update about the Matthew Stafford injury situation, as well as a post-game reaction to the Rams' first preseason game. That happened just a couple of hours ago today on Saturday, August 9th, here on this episode of Rams Digest. All that and more on this episode. And welcome back to another episode of Rams Digest. I'm your host, Joshua Finehirsh. Before we get into today's video, make sure to hit that subscribe button as we are now on the road to 5,000 subscribers. So make sure to hit that subscribe button to be a part of the journey. And make sure to click that notification bell, turn it to all, click all, so that you get notified and do not miss every time we post our daily new Rams Digest content covering all things Rams, so you stay in the loop. And now to our main story of today. And make sure to leave a like on this video as well. For the Rams, dominating the Cowboys 31-21 here in tonight's preseason game. But now to our main story of the video. We have a key Matthew Stafford injury update that Sean McVay dropped during the game, during his interview, and that has been confirmed from his post-game press conference. This story brought to us by Rams Wire. Matthew Stafford isn't playing in the preseason, but Saturday was still a very important day for the LA Rams quarterback. He had an on-field workout at the team's facility as he inches closer to returning to practice, continuing to progress from a lingering back injury that sidelined him since the start of camp. Sean McVay said on Thursday that if all went well in Stafford's workout, the quarterback would be on track to practice with the team on Monday. McVay joined the Rams broadcaster in Saturday's preseason game against the Dallas Cowboys and provided an update, sharing some really positive thoughts on Stafford's performance, as we have that quote for you right now. It was great. He looked awesome. He was able to activate all parts of the field. He looked strong. He looked sturdy. It was a very good step in the right direction, and he looked like the guy we're accustomed to seeing. And that right there, those words from Sean McVay really instilled confidence in not just me, but in Rams fans all across the world that Stafford is on a positive track in his recovery. Again, Monday's practice being that goal that he can return to. And for the Rams, this is awesome to see that this is a big step. Stafford had the epidural done on his back this Wednesday, which had me and a lot of other fans and players and coaches concerned. But this epidural really seems to just unlock the pain management to really just help him deal with pain. And now that he was able to do a full-scale throwing session, granted individual, but still that is a key step in him coming back to practice. This is why this is way better than we thought, because it looks like Stafford may have been out a couple more weeks after that epidural, but now seeing this, that the return is for sure in sight for Matthew Stafford. He's been dealing with some back soreness that stem from an aggravated disc, which he got an epidural for to help manage the pain. The Rams have no concerns about his week 1 availability, and McVay even said on Thursday that if it were a regular season game this weekend, Stafford would be able to play, which that is something that even more so solidifies that Stafford is very much on his way back here, at least by the end of next week based on all of this, which is, again, amazing for the Rams and for Stafford. Week 1, that concern is basically out the window now. My concern level is down to a 1.5 out of 10 that he will miss week 1. Definitely pretty much out the window. We obviously have to make sure he gets those connections right with the first team offense again, but now he's going to have 3 weeks to do so, which seemed like a much more impossible outcome when he got that epidural. But again, now that we've seen what this epidural is about, that all that concern is pretty much wiped away, that Stafford is on the recovery trail, which is awesome to see. And leave a like for the Rams getting number 9 back here shortly, because this is a great thing for the Rams and for the NFL to have one of its best quarterbacks available. Considering how well the workout went, we should expect Stafford to be on the field again Monday when the team returns to practice. That will be his first practice since minicamp in June, so this will be an important step for the veteran quarterback. Yes, it will. This is big. Now, we don't know if he does return to practice on Monday, what those restrictions will be like. Will he be doing full-on 11-on-11, or will he start off just doing 7-on-7? We will have to see. My guess is probably just 7-on-7, and if it is in pads, he won't be in a padded practice for his first time back. So, we definitely need to see just how this will turn out here for the Rams' first practice, but I definitely could see this happening. We actually have a clarifying report from the boy, Adam Schefter, over at ESPN tonight, after the game, and Sean McVay in his press conference confirmed something huge for the Rams here that we have for you right now. According to Adam Schefter, this is from the ESPN app notifications, Rams head coach Sean McVay told reporters that Matthew Stafford, who hasn't practiced this summer due to a back injury, threw 68 passes Saturday today, and there were no limits to the types of throws he made. Looking forward to progressing him back into practice on Monday, McVay said. Now, this means Stafford is going to practice for sure on Monday, barring anything happening tomorrow on Sunday. But it looks like he is going to be practicing on Monday for sure. Again, progressing him back into practice pretty much means, again, what I said. May only be some 7-on-7s, but hey, just him doing something in that practice, and then leading up into the week after next, him being back in those 11-on-11s, just that really eases that concern. And Schefter confirming that for us here tonight really helps this Rams team have an outlook for the season. And this also is really good for Jimmy G and Bennett, as we'll get into Bennett a little bit later and how he played in the game. But this really does help these two quarterbacks because they got to have reps with guys they wouldn't get as many reps with usually. And that means these guys just have even more confidence now heading into the regular season. More so for Jimmy G if Jimmy G needed to step in to a game in the regular season for any reason other than we're up by a lot of points. And comment down below right now your thoughts on this Matthew Stafford situation. To me, this is an awesome update. The best news we could have had is Stafford is going to be practicing in some capacity on Monday. So this is great to see. Leave a like on that for Stafford being back in practice. Comment it down below your concern and your thoughts, what he'll do and what this means for the Rams this season. Because I think this means the Rams season goes as usual in terms of what our record predictions would be. The Stafford's injury will not have an impact on the regular season as of right now. So awesome news for them. And now we have to get into the preseason game that happened tonight. The Rams dominating the Cowboys 31-21, and we had some stars, some storylines to get into, and we have to see just how much those played out, as we have that from Rams Wire as well coming up for you right now. It won't count towards their official record, but the Los Angeles Rams got their 2025 campaign started with a preseason victory over the Dallas Cowboys. Despite not playing any of their starters, the Rams still managed to put together a strong performance at home in the preseason opener. Stetson Bennett led the way with arguably the best game of his young career, throwing for 188 yards and 2 touchdowns in the win. Xavier Smith, Blake Corum, and Cody Schrader were among the other standouts from Los Angeles, impressing the coaching staff in the first preseason game of the year. Again, Cody Schrader, he was kind of playing in garbage time, so we have to see. But yeah, Xavier Smith, I have these notes written down as a guy who definitely stood out in that game. Made that great catch early on, 3 catches for 55 yards. Didn't do too much of the returning, but just to see his route tree, he looked like he knew those routes pretty well. And he was definitely a key reason for the Rams' success early on in that first half. And Bennett, the whole game was pretty good. He had that interception that I thought was waved off, but was not waved off by a penalty. But besides that interception, he looked awesome in this game. Not taking unnecessary sacks. He showed them ability a little bit too. That he looked really good in Corum early on with the 2 touchdowns as well. Being the red zone monster that he was back at Michigan. And Jarquez Hunter running with force. A lot of people, apparently they were saying on the broadcast, he has a powerlifting background. And I could tell by the way he was running. And Sean McVay even said that, and other players, like they don't like to mess with him because he runs so rough and violent that you might do something to him, which I know they're joking, but I like that type of attitude from a running back. And Hunter and Corum both look to be great bench players for this Rams team. The Rams jumped out to an early 14-0 lead thanks to 2 touchdown runs by Blake Corum on each of the first 2 drives, and they never looked back. The defense was dominant from start to finish, shutting down the Joe Milton-led offense for Dallas. Despite a high-scoring fourth quarter for both teams, the Rams held on to win 31-21. Yeah, again, the penalties in that third quarter were not great, especially Sean Jolly. Although he did have 5 tackles and a couple nice tackles in the open field, he did have multiple pass interference penalties in this game. And Sean Jolly, a guy who was on the team last year, fighting for a cornerback spot, not a great look for him as we have another corner to get into later on in this video as well. And some numbers to know here from this game. 22. The Rams picked up 22 first downs against the Cowboys, consistently moving the chains throughout the game. 2. Blake Corum scored 2 rushing touchdowns after failing to find the end zone his entire rookie season. 9. Nate Valcarcel and Tony Fields II tied for the team high with 9 tackles in the win. Yeah, Valcarcel was everywhere as a safety on that field, making plays in the open field. He was even able to get after the quarterback a little bit, having a quarterback hit on his stat sheet from this game. Again, Valcarcel, the undrafted rookie out of Northern Illinois, who we talked about in the last video as a player to watch. He was certainly a player to watch tonight, and he put his name on the map because there is some rumors that the Rams might carry 5 safeties, more safeties than corners, because Quentin Lake is a guy who could play everywhere, so he's kind of like an athlete position on that defense, if you will. So Val Carcel being that fourth official safety is definitely in the possibilities. He's really the only guy who I think has a real chance to crack that safety rotation. But leave a comment down below what you thought of Val Carcel's performance, because I thought he was absolutely amazing in this game tonight. 33-20. The Rams had the ball for 33 minutes and 20 seconds in this game, maintaining possession throughout with a strong rushing attack. Yeah, again, McVay, LaFleur, amazing play calling on the offensive side of the ball, keeping the ball with the Rams pretty much throughout that entire first half. And 181. That's the number of rushing yards the Rams had on Saturday, and that's with Dresser Wynn and Drake Stoops combining for -7 yards or -7. Yeah, again, Dresser Wynn's rushing yards not going to really look into. Same thing with Drake Stoops. He had a nice catch, but that was about it for Drake Stoops throughout this game. But yeah, the Rams rushing attack was awesome with Corum, Hunter, Schrader, Stetson Bennett as well. And a guy we're getting into a little later, and Brendan Presley, who had a nice game for the Rams as well. And stars of the game, you got Stetson Bennett, number 1, 16 for 24, 188 yards, 2 touchdowns. Again, that 1 interception. And you have Xavier Smith with 3 catches for 55 yards, and Blake Corum, 9 carries, 32 yards, and 2 touchdowns. All these guys were stars of the game. Another star of the game that I would say, though, Sean Dolak, a guy who we all love. He looked really good stopping the run, and with 6 tackles, he looked good in the snaps that he had. He was a surefire tackler, again, led all of FBS with 168 tackles last season at Buffalo. And he's a guy who, they said on the broadcast, Khalil Mack was drafted out of Buffalo. I don't know how this guy wasn't drafted out of Buffalo, because he looked awesome. Another star of the game for sure was Brendan Presley. He had a nice return for 38 yards, 2 receptions in it with a touchdown. And he had a nice little jet sweep run for 15 yards. So he kind of showed out in this game. He's a smaller guy, 5'8", 174, 23, undrafted rookie out of Oklahoma State. So we'll see if he does make this team, because as a return guy, he's behind Xavier Smith and Britton Covey, there. But definitely a guy who put on, especially in the second half, he looked really, really good. He had a nice burst of speed. So we'll see just how exactly he can fit into this team, or if he does make the practice squad, because he's a guy coming in who not a lot of people knew about. We haven't even talked about him on the channel, but he definitely deserves a mention for how he played in this game, because he was awesome. And the play of the game for sure was Cam Lampkin putting himself on the map and on the highlight reel with his third quarter interception, taking the ball away early in the second half and giving it back to the offense. It was an ill-advised throw from Cowboys quarterback Joe Milton, but Lampkin tracked it perfectly and made a terrific catch while falling to the ground. Yes, he did touch back, obviously falling to the ground in the end zone on that interception, but it was a really, really well-read route by Cam Lampkin. Sean Jolly had a play earlier where he ran a route where he read the route really nicely, but it was a pass interference, and Lampkin doing that really, really well. And Lampkin got some notes on him. He was on the practice squad all throughout 2024, undrafted rookie out of Washington State, 5'11", 176. Another one of a little bit of a smaller guy, more so weight-wise than height-wise, forward corner. But with that interception, he puts himself in the mix as a guy who was on the practice squad. He was here all last season, practicing and getting reps. Is he a guy who could get back in corner time, especially with Emmanuel Forbes being out and injured right now? Is there a chance that he can get those last second reps there? But that was absolutely an amazing play from him. And now we have some other players of the game. We talked about Brendan Presley, Xavier Smith, Josiah Stewart, the rookie third-round pick. He had a really nice sack on Joe Milton early on in the game. Didn't play too much after that because he didn't have to, but he looked awesome. Rookie Chris Paul Jr. as well, our fifth-round pick linebacker, came back as well from his injury. He had 5 tackles. He looked really good, and he wore the green dot today as well, which is key. He was calling the plays, which is amazing experience for him in case he does need to do that throughout the regular season. And cornerback, not receiver, cornerback, A.J. Green, had some nice deflections as well, 6'2", 198. He played 3 years on the Browns and was on the Vikings practice squad last year, so he's another guy who really put on for the cornerback room. Josh Wallace, the other corner, had an okay game, but definitely the players to look out for were Stetson Bennett was awesome, player of the game. We got Blake Corum, Jarquez Hunter. Again, Brendan Presley, I think, has maybe a role on the practice squad here on this team. Cam Lampkin and A.J. Green really, I think, put themselves over Sean Jolly and Josh Wallace after this game as well. Josiah Stewart, Sean Dolak, and Chris Paul Jr., some other players to look out for as well. Though overall, the Rams looked really good in this game. The O-line, Willie Lampkin, our boy, undersized king over there on the O-line, 5'11", 290 for a center. He blocked really well. The second unit with McClendon, Dedich, Arcuri, guys like that, all were blocking so well throughout this entire game. So like this video right now for the Rams, just an amazing team win overall for this Rams roster. The most points ever, they said on the broadcast. scored in a preseason game in the Sean McVay era with 31. But before we end this video, the joint practice with the Chargers has been canceled for this week. That was reported by Rams Wire right before I started filming. The Chargers have too many injuries right now, so they cannot hold the joint practice. McVay was disappointed. I was disappointed. But if that's what has to be done, that's what has to be done. I didn't see anything about a rescheduling for a later date yet, so maybe that does happen. We do have to wait and see on that. But that is all for this episode of Rams Digest. Thank you very much for watching as always. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. We are on the road to 5K right now. Be a part of the journey. Hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell. Turn it to all. Click all so you get notified and do not miss whenever we post our daily new Rams Digest videos covering all things Rams. Leave in the comments down below your player of the game for this preseason game. I have Stetson Bennett. Again, Cam Lampkin could be in there as well, or Nate Valcarcel are my 3 players of the game along with Blake Corum. And leave a comment down below your thoughts on the Stafford injury update, the amazing update we got. I think it's awesome that this injury is pretty much behind the Rams and us now here on this channel. And thank you very much for watching another episode of Rams Digest. I've been your host, Joshua Finehirsh. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you soon for another one, and have a great rest of your day.